on. Joe?
Hey, hello everybody out there. I want to say happy Mother's Day, first of all, right off the bat. And to my wife, God bless her soul. She's still hanging in there with me as well, with the kids. How's your wife doing there, Ken?
I am doing fine.
How's your wife doing, though? It's Mother's Day.
I know. We just went over to her parents' house, and we just got back. I'm kind of all over the place right now, but
I know.
It was definitely a good day, and she hopefully had a great Mother's Day, and I think she did. Definitely just being with the family. So, yeah, it was great.
Sounds good. We got a really good show tonight. We have Dave DiNuzzo, and we'll be talking with him here in just a few minutes. And of course, Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. Ken, I got a question for you, real quick here. Do you know what the toughest job in the world is? And it was on the internet here, and I want to give you some information about it in case you want to apply for it. But anyhow, you have to work. You have to work 135 hours a week. 135 hours a week. No. Okay, no breaks, and they want you to have a degree, if possible, either in medicine, finance, or the culinary arts. You believe that? No vacations.
That's not.
And during the holidays, the workload actually increases, doesn't decrease. And here's the clincher: there's no pay. You don't get paid. At least not in this world. You know what it is?
What?
It's being a mom. That's kind of neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of rewards for the moms. I guess that would be more like a stay-at-home mom, though.
Yeah. That's. And I heard. I mean, it's just funny just to think of what we've gone through with our family and just raising youngsters right now, and she does so much more. I'll say it's just,
yeah, I know. It's a tough job today. It's a tough job to be a mom. It's a tough job to be a dad. Right. And we're going to be talking about male masculinity and what it means to be a real man. So we're going to be talking with Dave DiNuzzo about that. But first, Kent, I'll let you take over for a minute here with we need some donations.
Okay. Hi, it's Ken with the Fiat Ministry Network. Thanks for watching the Joe Miller Unplugged show. Also, we just want to let you all know about how much we enjoy creating new shows for you about different topics of the Catholic faith and also bringing in some great guests. But we also need your support. Any kind of support, prayer, financial would be great. And please check out our donation button right underneath the video player that you're viewing right now. You also could like us on Facebook or also follow us on Twitter. We really appreciate any kind of support that you can give us, and we'll definitely do our best to give you the best Catholic shows every Sunday night on the Joe Miller Unplugged show, right here on the Fiat Ministry Network, encouraging all to say yes to Jesus Christ. Hi.
Okay, very good. All right, thanks. So we accept 50s, 100s, whatever, okay? And we forgot to pray. And let's do that right now, okay? In the name of the Father, name of the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord Jesus, God the Father, Holy Spirit, ask for your blessings here on Fiat Ministry. Ask for your grace-filled evening. Pray for our guest tonight. Send your blessings upon him, upon Ken, upon me, upon anyone in the chat room, family, friends, upon all of our wives and our mothers. We ask for a special blessing on all of them. We also ask for intercessory help from Bishop Fulton Sheen in heaven, who is our patron saint for Fiat Ministry. We ask for his guidance and his intercession at the throne of heaven as well. We ask all this in Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Okay, let's bring on Dave DiNuzzo. And Dave, you're out there, right?
I'm here.
There he is. Well, where is he, Ken? There he is. All right. All the way from Kansas. That's amazing. You're the second guest. We had Sarah Swafford on. And, it doesn't matter because I always say it wrong. Even I try to decide which way to say it, but it's always the wrong way. But how are you tonight?
I'm doing great.
let me give you the introduction here, because you've got quite a ministry going on. You're a Catholic husband, father of 4 kids. Your wife's name is Catherine, just like mine. You're the founder of True Manhood Men's Ministry. It's calling men to fight the cultural manliness and to live a virtuous life. You're a speaker, author, blogger, retreat master, evangelist. You served as on Focus missionary work, director of campus ministry at Air Force Academy, director of programming for National Men's Ministry, and a diocesan director of young adult and campus ministry. So there you are, Dave. Did you know you did all those things? That is amazing. That is amazing. So God bless you for that. Let me just ask you first, how did you first come to Christ? Let's start with that, and then we're going to get into your whole ministry and what it means to be a man, a real man.
Sure. Well, I first had the experience of coming to know Jesus actually in an evangelical setting as a Catholic kid, and I was probably around 14. Actually then fell away from the church and reverted, or I was a boomerang Catholic, as my wife calls me. I went out, did some damage, and came back. And I was about 22, 23 when that happened. 10 years ago.
So about 10 years ago is when you really said, this is the real thing, and I'm on Christ's side. I'm moving with Christ about 10 years ago, huh?
Yep.
Okay, great. You got an interesting website and an interesting ministry, and I think that there's 2 sides to this whole men's, how we define manliness, okay? To me, at least. You correct me if I'm wrong. I see 2 sides. I see a side where a man who is saying that he's holy and virtuous is really kind of wimpy. We have that picture of someone who's holy as they've got to be a marshmallow. The culture also says, on the other hand, that if you're a macho man, you're out there to step on people to get ahead. You have to have money, beautiful women, the whole thing. Both of those scenarios are wrong. So what is it for a true manhood? What is true manhood?
This is the question of the day, and it comes up all the time. The question is, what did Christ do? If we always just go back to Christ, he is our guide, and so he lived virtue. He is virtue. He is masculinity. And so all that he embodied is what we should be doing as men now. And you're dead on with these 2 examples. We have the hyper masculine. I call it cultural manliness. This idea, and you said it almost exactly the same way I say it, that the world is selling this idea of what a male should be, as the more power, money, sex, and stuff that he can accumulate and consume, the more manly he is. The more notches in our belt we can get, the more women we can conquer, the more stuff we can buy, the more power we can lord over people. We just consume and consume and consume, and somehow that makes us more of a man. And
so the accumulation of materialism and stuff and money, that's what makes us a man. But that's not the case. And would you agree on the other side too, that it's not about being a wimp? It's not about just...
Absolutely. I say in my talks, I'm a gun lover, I'm a hunter and an outdoorsman, and I pick up heavy stuff and put it back down. I drive around in my 4x4, and you think that I'm a wimpy guy. Now, those things don't make me a man, but neither do these. But I'm no wimp. I'm no wimp. And you assume that I am because I love the Lord. I cherish my wife. I go to the Eucharist in adoration. We're going to have a problem.
So what is true manliness then? I know it's all those things. Can we define it? And
true manhood, absolutely. True manhood is living virtue. That's it. It's not hard. It's not rocket science.
So virtue, the opposite. I know the opposite of vice is virtue. And so, what are some of the virtues that men live that makes them manliness or masculine or whatever?
we've got the 4 cardinal virtues of prudence, temperance, justice, and fortitude. And we've got the 3 theological virtues of faith, hope, and love. So ultimately, Christ on the cross is the most masculine thing that ever has happened, ever in the history of mankind.
No.
None of us could have done that. It doesn't matter how strong we are. It doesn't matter how much determination we have. There is no way that we could have done what he did. And that was an ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate gift of love. And that is the idea that is so countercultural, that men are loving. That that's actually masculine.
Right, right. So you lay down his life for us, and like you have the crucifix on the wall behind you and everything. And that's God. That's God that we nailed to a couple pieces of wood. I mean, that's just mind-boggling.
Right.
You know, we say that we're not intrinsically evil or anything, or we don't have original sin or anything. It's like, come on. You know, God came to earth as a human being, and boy, he didn't fit kind of into our box that we wanted him to fit into, and that's kind of how it ended up. But you're right. I mean, he gave up his life for us. So now true manliness would be what? Giving up your life in a way for your family, for your wife, things like that as well, correct?
Sure. So we're going to look at any situation and look at it and say, what would Jesus do? Maybe it's cliche from that 90s saying, but what would Jesus do is the question that you can ask on any topic. Okay, if I'm going to be a man, what would a true man do? And Jesus, you know, we say in the divine praises, blessed be Jesus Christ, true God and true man. Mm-hmm. And that's really what this whole ministry has derived out of, is he is the example in every single way. So we need to imitate him. That is how we become what God created us to be. And so these things that Christ did, we don't necessarily literally expect to die on the cross, but we should die to self. At home, in our domestic church, with our wives and our kids first, and then in the world. And, it's a big task. It's not easy, but the path is clear. We see this idea of cultural manliness in the world, of what the world is selling, and where does it get people? It gets people to a place of complete emptiness, lacking fulfillment, longing for more. And we know that this consumerism, this consumption of power, money, sex, and stuff isn't going to lead to, it's not going to lead to this fulfillment that everybody's longing for, this thing that's down deep inside of all of us. It's not going to lead there. So right. The counter to that is not to say that having power, money, sex, or stuff is wrong. The use of it, the intent with it, and the approach is what makes those things different. And then ultimately, if we are able to lay down our life in big ways, small ways, and do what Christ did, then we're on the path.
I want to ask you a couple of questions here about another area that you're associated with manhood, and that would be with the with marriage, but also with single parents. And I think that I want to get your take on this. We also have a short film clip with I got off your website. As a matter of fact, Ken, if you can show some of his website here for a minute.
Sure.
It's a great website that people go to, truemanhood.com. And here's some statistics now about single parents, okay? It's very alarming here. But the kids that grow up in single-parent homes, they're more likely to commit violence, to end up in jail, suicide, and almost always end in poverty. 63% of suicides, this is staggering, 63% of suicides are from people that from a single-parent family. And 75% of kids, anybody under the age of 18, 75% of them that are in a chemical dependency hospital came from a single parent household. And then from the Heritage Foundation, I found this, that almost 40% of families led by single moms nationwide are living in poverty. So we're seeing that when you have a single household, like let's say the dad is not present, we're seeing psychological problems, chemical dependency, drug use, alcohol, and we're seeing that these problems progress with them as they get older. I know about 5 guys who, and that's not the burger place, 5 Guys, burgers and fries, but I know 5 guys who they came from single family homes, and they're 40, 50 years old now. They're still messed up, So there is such a powerful role that the father plays in a family, and I thought maybe you could elaborate on that.
Sure. I'm lucky. I'm a very blessed man that I grew up in a household with a father who was just awesome, just absolutely awesome. My dad, he taught me how to be as a man by his actions. And I could watch what he did, watch how he treated and loved my mother, and how he treated other people, when we were out in public. That role is so vital. And so we're seeing in our culture that's normalized all kinds of sin, normalized all kinds of choices that are detrimental to the natural law. They're going to go against the natural law. We're going to have problems with our children. And if we want to take it even further back, all we have to do is look at the beginning of creation. And people want to blame Eve. Eve wants to blame the serpent. No, it's Adam's fault. Adam lost trust in his God. He became prideful. That is the first sin. He failed to do what he did. So then we had generation after generation after generation not knowing, not understanding that God is their father and that he loves them. That's why he created us to be with him. And when people can grasp that concept, we are able to get over whether we had a great father like me, or we had the absence of a father, or a detrimental father. And ultimately there's healing in all this because God loves us. But all the statistics you rattled off, there's more, and it's staggering. Men, we got to pick up the ball and get it going, and make these things happen. We cannot have a continuation of fatherless children. We have to take responsibility and love. See, this is, again, going back to that, what does it mean to be a true man? It's to love. And that is so countercultural. It doesn't exist on the hyper masculine side, and guys shy away from it on the other end because they feel like they're wimps. We got to get right there in the medium, in the middle. That's the sweet spot where guys are loving. They're bringing their kids along with them. They're striving for holiness, striving to be what God wants and God created us to do. It's a whole picture. It's all wrapped up together.
Yeah. Well, we got a film clip here with Will Smith. Kenton, you want to show that? And then we'll take it. If they have a question out of the chat room, we can go into that too. But let's show that film. This is about 3 minutes long. I want you to watch this. This is very powerful and moving, but it shows you the effect of a boy growing up without a dad.
You a better man than me. You happy? Now, you gonna tell Will or not?
I'm not gonna do your dirty work for you.
Fine. I'll call him from the road.
Yeah, then why don't you do that?
Yeah, I'll do that. Daddy-o! What's up? Will, I'm glad you're here. Some business came up I gotta handle. So we're gonna have to put our trip on hold. You understand?
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Just for a couple of weeks.
I understand.
Yeah. Maybe a little longer.
Yeah, whatever.
Look, I'll call you next week and we'll iron out the details. Okay?
Yeah.
It was great seeing you, son.
You too, Lou.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Will.
You know what? Actually, this works out better for me. You know, the Slimmies of summer come to class wearing next to nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Will, it's all right to be angry.
Hey, why should I be mad? I'm saying at least he said goodbye this time. I just wish I hadn't wasted my money buying this stupid present.
I'm sorry. You know, if there was something that I
Hey,
could
you know
do.
what? You ain't got to do nothing, Uncle Phil. Hey, you know, ain't like I'm still 5 years old, you know? Ain't like I'm gonna be sitting up every night asking my mom, when's Daddy coming home, you know? Who needs him? Hey, he wasn't there to teach me how to shoot my first basket, but I learned, didn't I? Hey, I got pretty damn good at it too, didn't I, Uncle Phil?
You did.
Got through my first day without him, right? I learned how to drive. I learned how to shave. I learned how to fight without him. I had 14 great birthdays without him. He never even sent me a damn card. To hell with him! I ain't need him then, and I don't need him now.
Will.
Nah, you know what, Uncle Phil? I'm gonna get through college without him. I'm gonna get a great job without him. I'm gonna marry me a beautiful honey, and I'm having me a whole bunch of kids. I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kids. How come he don't want me, man?
All right, thanks a lot there, Ken. And that is a very powerful and emotional, moving clip. And you can feel the emotion. Somebody said that Will Smith actually grew up with a single parent, I think with just his mom or something. But that's more than acting there. That's that raw emotion and feeling that's been pent up inside of them for so long. Dave, I just want to ask you a quick question here, and then we'll talk about this book that you have in your ministry. But, boy, the culture today, as someone said in the chat room, doesn't sound like the culture is portraying men in a very good light. What have you found on that? What's your thoughts on that?
Sure. I mean, we've got these extremes. It's no matter what is portrayed, they're missing the boat. You know, on the one hand, we've got the sitcom dad, who's an oaf. You know, he has no intelligence. He's lazy. He has to, any decision dealing with the kids, he's got to run it past mom, or he has no clue. He's totally disengaged from the family life. And, you know, we've got a lot of those examples, or we've got these other examples often depicted as single men. The clubbing player type of idea, where guys are just going around, all they have on their mind all the time is sex, and you know, just use them and lose them. You know, total disregard for females. You know, it's sad. I could go on and on with all kinds of examples of what the culture does, especially through the media, but you know, one big thing that's really coming out, I think we're seeing this everywhere, is the normalization of the homosexual lifestyle and the just blatant acceptance there. Now, we've talked a little bit about these views that the culture's giving, what true manhood is. You mentioned the stuff about kids growing up with absentee fathers, or dad's just absolutely gone, disregarded. We saw this video from Will Smith, who just wants acceptance. Mm-hmm. These ideas, we want to be loved innately. We desire it so much from our fathers that when the dad's not there, it becomes disordered when we look either from our mom, from our boss, from other men, from our peers growing up, whatever. You know, it becomes very disjointed and very disordered, and that disorder leads to a lot of pain and hurt. So whatever this idea that the culture has out there that's portraying it to us, they're all missing the boat. They're all missing it. You don't see a man depicted anywhere that I know of in the mainstream as faithful, smart, a leader, a servant. All these ideas have been destroyed by modern media, modern culture.
Oh, you're not kidding. Yeah. And of course, also the statistics in real life too aren't too good about the divorce rate and things, or just births out of wedlock. And then you did mention the homosexual agenda, which we can talk about that in just a minute. As a matter of fact, what we're going to move into is pornography, and we can talk about the homosexual agenda as well. And that's going to be a very powerful discussion there. But before we do that, I just want to highlight the book that you have out. It's called Man Up. And you put that together with a lot of authors. So you guys, I think you're about 12 authors. How many authors do you have in that?
Yeah, 12 Catholic men came together at the request of Jared Zimmer. He's the main author on the book. We've just got some power pack guys on there. Some priests, some deacons, lay evangelists, and we wrote.
Let me mention a few. Deacon Harold Sivers. There he is. He's in there. Boy, he's a powerhouse. We had him on my show a few weeks ago, and he was unbelievable. Jesse Romero is another one. We've got him coming up. I don't know how, but we got him coming up. And boy, talking about a guy who's on fire for the faith. Those two right there, look out. Jim Burnham. Now, I've got the study guide here. Also, he's the writer of the beginning apologetics and some of the other San Juan Bautista Catholic seminars. Those are excellent. And and then of course you're part of it. You've written a couple chapters on this book called Man Up. What we want to do is there's a short trailer here. It's kind of powerful. So let's run that. And listen, with Father's Day coming up, this makes the perfect Father's Day gift for every single dad out there. So let's run that trailer. And seriously, people should look into buying this book about manliness.
And we're back. I just want to let everybody know we have a nice audience in the chat room. Anyone that wants to actually log into the chat, please do. We really appreciate it. Really quick, just with the Fiat Ministry, to promote, like us on Facebook, go to Twitter, follow us on Twitter. If you have any comments, anything that you would like to promote, or even come on the show, or be part of the Fiat Ministry, please let us know. Email us, go on Facebook, go to YouTube channel. All the videos will be recorded and archived on our YouTube channel, so that's definitely subscribe to that, and we'll get back to the show, and you guys can keep going.
All right, thanks, Kent. Yeah, thanks a lot. Hey, fix that one TV screen behind you. Would you already? That one that keeps going on the bus. Go over there, turn that knob a little bit, okay? A friend of mine saw the TV monitors I have behind me, and he goes, "How can that one news guy? Oh gosh, what is Anderson Cooper?" He goes, "Anderson Cooper probably can't sleep at night with all those TVs and monitors you got going on there." All right. Anyhow, Dave DiNuzzo is our guest here tonight. He's written that book, Man Up. Also, your chapter in there is on pornography, and we've got to get to that because, man, that is something that is attacking the male culture. It is relentless. I think you even said that it is the #1 weapon that Satan uses against men. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's my opinion, that it's the devil's #1 tool. But when I look at it, I've worked with thousands of men over the last several years, and time again, men they're just destroyed by this sin, this crutch, this affliction, this addiction. And unfortunately, it is searching for us. It's coming after us. We are the prey. It is the predator. The advent of the internet brought it about in a whole new world, in a whole new way. Yeah. It's hard to even grasp for some people who don't understand how big this industry is, and how prevalent it is, and how young it starts. Yeah. And the effects that it has.
Dave, I'm looking at some statistic I pulled off the internet here. It says, we're in the online generation, and that 4 out of every 10 young people today are addicted to the internet. 4 out of 10. And they said 2/3 of 11 to 17-year-olds take the iPhone or the iTablet or whatever with them to bed. They sleep with it. They fall asleep while they're watching it. And now that since we're on the subject of pornography, what is the absolute ease with which a person can find the most god-awful sexual images imaginable? This is scary. I've got kids in high school now. I can't really tell what they're getting into. I'm hoping and praying to God that I'm doing the right thing as a father. But, boy, if you want to find it, you don't even have to want it. It comes after you. When you're on the internet, it finds you, it seeks you out, and it goes after you.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And, for all the parents who are watching, you cannot wait to talk to your kids until they're in high school. That is way too late. The statistics that are out there on this topic, especially when it deals with kids, they're always going to be behind, and they're always going to be smaller than what you can actually find, because the devil wants this in the dark. The devil wants this to be private, and he wants it to be hidden so that even children who know. I was addicted from the age of 10 years old. That was my first exposure, and it created an addiction. It can happen just like that, just like methamphetamines, the way that our brain chemicals work. I was 10. If you don't think that there are kids who are seeing this at 8 and 6 and even younger, then you've got to pull your head out from that rock you're living under and realize this is serious. And we cannot deny the fact that the church has the answer. We have the beautiful teaching of the theology of the body to teach our children what their sexuality is about, what true freedom is, what their peace is going to come from. what they can give their heart to, who they can give their heart to. So what I like to say, especially to parents, when thinking about the technologies that your children have, the internet access, anything that gets a Wi-Fi signal or has a LAN input can get porn. Not only can get porn, it can get bullying, it can get violence, it can get curse words, it can get Satanism, atheism, the occult is all over the place. So what do we do then? Well, we arm our children, we equip them with the knowledge age appropriate from the start of birth. I actually started in the womb, praying for my children, talking to them, setting the example, preventing them in the home from having access to certain things. And then as they're getting older, my oldest is now 6, we have even more things that we need to do and more things to talk about. When you have teenagers, you can do all kinds of things in the home. But if you don't equip the kids to make the right choice when they're outside of your home that you can control, they're going to fail. That is the way that the system is set up. If you don't teach them in the house, if you don't drill this home, and I hate with an emphatic hate when we talk about having the talk, like it's a one-time thing. Like if I just tell them how anatomy works, that I've done my job. That is failure as a parent. And this cannot be, again, that idea that the culture says that the dads can't handle stuff, can't talk to the kids, doesn't connect with them. Dads, if you leave this on mom's shoulders, it's going to be even that much harder for your kids to succeed. Now, you have to be living it too. So the fathers out there can't be looking at this junk, can't be getting slayed by this giant, as I like to say. And we have to be in this battle. And it is a daily battle. You know, for somebody like me, who I'm a recovering porn addict, it is a daily struggle. It is a daily attempt at holiness that I know the devil, just like Scripture says, is roaring around like a lion ready to devour. I cannot let my guard down. That is how insidious this sin is and how dangerous it is. And that's why I believe that it's the devil's #1 tool, because it is everywhere. It has been normalized. There is no gender or age or religion or anything. Culturally, it is coming after everybody. Yeah. I saw some on a billboard earlier today, driving downtown Kansas City, you know, and I wanted to get out and climb up the thing and rip it down.
Yeah, right. You don't have to, I don't know, billboards, music, some of the songs today with the lyrics, it's all about shacking up with somebody. It's just, it's
all about use. It's all about use. You know, we've got Theology of the Body, which is an incredible resource, but the precursor to that was Carol Wojtyła's work in Love and Responsibility. We think the opposite of love is hate. The opposite of love is use. We're just a whole culture using each other. Everybody's using everybody. And that's ultimately going to just destroy the fiber of the family when the husband's abusing and abusing his wife. And the kids are growing up in this. It's just a cycle of, oh, you use me, I'm going to use you. And now we've got incredible. It
is damning effect, because it not only affects the teens, but it can affect grown men too and their marriages. And Ken, if there's somebody that's got a good question in the chat room, we'll get to it here. I was looking at something that you wrote in that chapter on the book there, and you were talking about when we encounter pornography. I'm going to read a little bit of it here. You said there was a chemical bond that is created. And I thought this was really interesting. I was not aware of this. You know, a lot of hormones and testosterone are released, but one of the hormones you talked about, and particularly it was most damaging probably, is called oxytocin. Is that pronounced right? Oxytocin?
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin. Sorry. Okay. Well, whatever. Close enough. Well, the effect of oxytocin, I mean, this is amazing. Now, when we have childbirth, oxytocin is released by the mom, and there is a bonding. There is an incredible bonding that is created between her and that child. But it also happens with men, sexual activity. That oxytocin is also released, so that there is, when you and your wife have sexual intimacy, so there's this bonding, so the marriage can last 20, 30, 40 years. There isn't that separation. It's not easy. You're bonding with that person. But you brought an excellent point in, and that is when you're looking at pornography and things like that, this oxytocin for the men, I think primarily, because I think that the stimulation of the sense of the eyes must release this oxytocin. But you're bonding now with falsehood. You're bonding with this this evil, these images, and that's part of that inseparable attraction, right?
Yeah, this happens, like you said, in childbirth. It happens in breastfeeding. It happens in the marital act. These are all the ways that God intended to create bonds with us, when he wants us to be united in the right way. So then we have this oxytocin firing in our brain, along with all kinds of other hormones and brain chemicals. Again, God intended these things to do this, but when they're used in the wrong way, they create major problems. So we see men who have addiction, who their brains become programmed, let's say, that at certain scents, certain sounds, certain proximities, like anytime they get near their laptop, their cell phone, their tablet, these chemicals can fire. And now it brings about memories, which might bring about arousal, which might bring about the temptation in a deeper way. The man now gives into the temptation, and he's in this cycle. It's the same thing with drug use. When there's a physical chemical substance, the person believes they need it. Addiction-wise, they do need it to get that high, to satiate that temptation and that urge and that desire. And then they use it, get this euphoria of sorts, and then they create a dependency. So it becomes totally cyclical. I need it, I use it, I have this experience. I need it, I use it, I have this experience. Same thing that's happening in porn. So this is a serious problem. The healthcare professionals, the counselors, they have finally, and I am not that. I don't have an expertise in this area. I just have a little bit of knowledge in my experience and dealing with this on a number of levels. Mm-hmm. And specifically myself, understanding how all these triggers work.
Right. Well, we're not asking you to give the whole synopsis of the brain or anything like that.
But it's really important for people to understand how devastating this is.
Exactly. Just the basic understanding of this. I wasn't aware of it. This oxytocin. Yeah. Now, I went on a few other websites to get a little more information on oxytocin. Now, take it for whatever it's worth. A few other websites, but one of them was saying now women release oxytocin in different ways than men. For instance, this one claimed that that's released when they talk. And I was thinking, well, maybe that's one of the reasons, women love to talk so much. Maybe, and reading too. I think they didn't say reading, but I threw that one in, maybe with reading, because women love to read. But with men, it's, what is it? Action. I think when we are bonding, we bond through action and activities, right? That's how men are.
Absolutely.
Women bond, and I've heard women tell me this, they bond through talking, which is totally different activities, but the oxytocin is released. I think we also we are obviously releasing it through visual stimulation too, with the pornography. But here's a question for you. This bonding takes place. It's a chemical reaction. Now, if we move into the whole idea we were talking about with the homosexual agenda, let's talk about that, because you're right. There's a push in the culture. A phenomenal push. They're not going to let up. But what is it that a lot of college kids do? Sometimes they get into this experimentation. They want to experiment with this sexual activity. Why? God only knows why. Because maybe the culture is encouraging it. But then there can be a bonding that's developed then, right? And then now they're entrapped in that homosexual activity that they can't get out of.
Sure. Yeah. we can be bonded to all kinds of things. This is, one example of a disorder that goes against the natural law. But I think, there's a new video out, and it's called The Third Way. It was put out by Chris Stefanik and Jason Everett and Father Mike Schmitz and Sister Helena. It is excellent at explaining how we, through love of the person, discuss the topic, how the church actually views it, not how the media says we view it. The Third Way, if you look it up on Vimeo, it's been out for about 2 weeks. It is so important that no matter how we talk about this topic, whether it's about an individual, the lifestyle, the agenda politically, the things that are taking place at these rallies, the laws that are changing, bathrooms. I mean, it's all over the place. If we speak about it properly, about how people are not homosexual, people are people have human dignity, acts are homosexual, and that we love people. I mean, I have plenty of disorders. Joe, I don't know you personally. I bet you got plenty of disorders too. Right? That's
no.
That's why God gave us
the thought. There's only one perfect person in the world today, and I'm tired of just holding up the standard for everybody. But,
yeah, exactly. So I just want to say that because we as Catholic men a lot of times get pigeonholed as bigots, as hatred, as, anti-love. This is just insane ideas. No, we want better for those people who are choosing sin. We want better for them. And we want fulfillment in God's love for them. That's what we want. And, that's a hard topic. And all these social issues, I think, are extremely difficult. Abortion, contraception, the homosexual agenda, divorce, even pornography to some extent, because people are so emotionally attached. They're so emotionally invested. They know someone who had an abortion. They themselves have had an abortion. They use contraception. They're a product of divorce or have been divorced, maybe multiple times. And they don't want the responsibility. They don't want to say that what they've done is wrong. So we that know that there's a better option out there and that we can teach them that through true charity. Mm-hmm. If we give that to them, especially as Catholic men, if we teach them through our actions to be loving, again, going back to what we first started out with, this is countercultural, to love this way. And you don't hear this in the media. There's a couple of us saying it. Mm-hmm. We really know in the church that this is the answer for the men to step up and lead and teach people through their actions how to love. So back to your point, though. Yes, the bonding can happen even in disordered sexual ways. It happens in all kinds of, I don't even want to get into how crazy the porn industry is and just absolutely disgusting things that are out.
Yeah, it's off the charts crazy. And also, just want to say one thing is that when you have, like in college and stuff, when they're having all these multiple partners and stuff, there's always a bonding with each one of them. And that's just got to play havoc with the mind after a while. And
it's devastating.
Yeah, it is devastating.
Gabriella just had a mention about how sex trade and human trafficking is also common with pornography, and how it is all over the world in that sense. And Al Smith has a question, just a little bit different question on with the men's. Dave, do you have any ideas or tools that you could help men starting a men's group at their parish level? Is there anything that you could give as some advice to?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, if you're a man out there in a parish and you want to start a men's group, I suggest that you figure out what it is you want to do. Do you want to do a Bible study with men? Do you want to do a men's prayer group? Do you want to meet monthly, bi-weekly, every week? Do you want to do accountability? Do you want it to be formation? Whatever it is, identify that and then make that your mission. If it's just a random guy in a parish and he wants to get a men's group together, I suggest that it be an accountability group I suggest that it have more than one leader, and that you start with, the ideal number is 5 men, and you go to the priest and you tell him, we want to get a group started. We need a location. We need your blessing, and then get started. Don't worry about having 100 men. Start small, pray together, and hold each other accountable. That accountability is what we all need as men. Exactly what Joe said. We learn through action. We learn through the challenge in life. And holding each other to a set standard is going to be one of the best ways to get a group going in your parish. And there's all kinds of resources, all kinds of things you can do. If somebody has questions specifically, just get in touch with me, and we can talk about your scenario in your parish, to make it, to set you up for success. This is not going to be a program that you're just going to throw at the parish like every other program we have. This is something that's going to be formative and really change men's lives. We've seen it firsthand. We've seen it happen, and it brings men back to the sacraments. It fixes marriages. It creates this atmosphere where a man can be built up into the man that he's supposed to be.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ken.
I'm sorry. Guess 499 has a question on a if I'm struggling with porn or know someone that is how do I start to work on it?
Sure. I've got a 5-step plan on my website. It's really a 3-step plan. First step, though, is don't just want to fix the problem, work to fix the problem. Just wanting to simply have this be better is not going to do anything except leave you feeling empty. You have to decide that I'm going to put this work in. Okay? That's the second step. The first step is acknowledge that you have a problem. So once you get those out of the way, you've got to have prayer in your life. The prayer and sacraments is huge. You've got to have accountability. If you can do it in person, that's great. If you can't do it in person, don't have somebody. I offer that as a service. And you have to have an action plan. If you wait around and just let the temptations in, and you just wait until you're up at the plate, but you've not done any preparation, you will fail. You will fail. So those are those 3 steps: prayer and sacrament, accountability, that can be as frequent as you need, and an action plan. So the action plan is key there. That's what the accountability partner holds you to. You take a look at your life and say, these are my triggers. These are the areas that I fall. I fall on the computer. I fall in print. I fall on my phone, whatever. Get the software you need, the filters, the accountability software. Get rid of it. Put yourself in a place where you can succeed. And so your plan, you develop it for yourself, not my plan. My plan is my plan. Your plan has to be your plan, so that when that temptation comes, you know it, and you put the plan into action at the very first instant that you are tempted. So this may take some time. We have to know here that God has us in his hands, and he wants to get us through this. He's not going to leave us wanting in this if we trust him, if we give it over. So that's where the prayer comes in, the sacraments. It's a whole part. You got to really jump in. This could be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life, but it's so worth it.
It's kind of like battling alcohol or anything. It's one day at a time, isn't it? It's just
sometimes it's hour by hour, minute by minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dave, I want to thank you for tonight. It was a fascinating show. I really appreciate it. And the book again is Man Up, right? We got to cover that. You got it right there. There it is, Man Up. And you got 12 authors. You've written a few chapters on it. It's a great book. It makes a great book for Father's Day, because it's all about manliness and being a real man in today's culture. So thanks again. Really appreciate it. All the way from Kansas. Look, we got to dig up some more people from Kansas, because you guys are all awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I wanted to say, though, my family's from Pittsburgh. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh!
I hung that up.
I didn't realize that. Pittsburgh Steelers. Kent, we gotta black that out. I didn't even realize that. Oh,
hey, I'm actually from Erie, Pennsylvania, and so I was originally a Steelers fan too, but I am Johnny Football. Just a little sports for anyway.
Well, guys, thanks for having me on, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate the support of True Manhood and the book, and any prayers that people have out there. This is a topic, specifically pornography, that people need a lot of help with, and bring it out into the light. If you keep it in the darkness, it's going to fail, and it's going to continue to just be something that you just are just going to struggle with forever. Get it in the light. Let the Lord deal with it with you, and you can have some freedom.
Yeah, you got it. Well, thanks a lot, Dave. God bless you. God bless your ministry and everything.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you again.
And we're back. We're going to have a couple things going on coming up. I just want to let everybody know about next week's show is on a Monday. Note that it's not going to be Sunday. We're going to be running reruns Sunday night. But next Monday night, 9 p.m., John Curry, really great. I mean, just going to have so many different topics we could go with him about anything about the church. And then May 25th, I know Dave knows Jesse Romero. We're really excited also to have him too on. I don't know, Joe, do you have anything about that upcoming shit?
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. So I'm really looking forward to that. John Curry too. He's an apologist. He knows his Catholic faith very, very well, and he doesn't throw any punches. So he's going to tell you exactly like it is, and that should be a very interesting show. And that's Monday night, and then, like you said, Jesse Romero will be on Sunday. So that's awesome.
Yep. Well, everybody.
Well, thanks again. Hey, happy Mother's Day to.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there that are watching, and anyone again. Please, follow us on Facebook or on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Go to our YouTube channel with all the archive shows. This will be archived and up on our website also. So please, subscribe. And if you eventually, prayers are the number one thing we always ask. But if you can do any kind of support for us, that would be also great. And in donations, we are always, and we're looking for anyone that would like to help us out, editing, thinking about a show that they would like to, do, anything to get. This as a 24/7 network, live streaming of great Catholic content, encouraging all to say yes to Jesus Christ, like we say every week. That's what it's all about. So please do that for us. And thanks for everybody in the chat room. Welcome, everybody. I mean, it's a great chat room tonight. So thanks.
Sounds good, Kent. Well, God bless, and God willing, we'll see you Monday.
Okay. God bless everybody.